Let me start with this presentation, which is how well aware are professionals of AAC and how much they use AAC. I'm going to tell you what the status is and what the future is, at least from what we know is happening. Let me start, of course, by a short slide. You already know many of these things. For example, what is happening in Bulgaria during the past 8 or 9 years. One of the important events is this international conference, which started in 2018, and this is the 5th international conference on AAC. In 2021, we organized the 13th regional conference for Central and Eastern Europe. As you know, we are holding a lot of courses, trainings, all of the time. We are trying to work using different projects. As a result, increasing the awareness and the use of AAC. Very often, use has to do with adapting and creating materials for Bulgaria and materials in Bulgarian. Let me now present you with what we have done on the development of communication and learning skills project. This was a project with the financial support of the European Social Fund. Within this project, we developed 700, even more, interactive classes, and they can be used in specialized software for communicator and training called Communicator 5 and less for Grid 3. These lessons cover different areas for language and conceptual development and basic literacy for reading words and numerical literacy and communication skills. We have other presentations which present these classes in more detail, but apart from this, we prepared a methodology presenting the training program and a methodology for using AAC system with an eye gaze. This methodology is available online and
сайта на фондация АСИСТ, Помагащи технологии.
Can be downloaded for free at our website, Assistive Foundation. Another useful resource, which was created in partnership and with the financial support of UNICEF Bulgaria, is the edition which is called Supportive Technology for AAC, and it presents both the general framework of AAC and the low-tech means, as well as high-tech means for AAC, and the means for alternative access to a computer. Apart from the presentations in this edition, as a second part, there was a catalogue of the AAC means. This edition is within the partnership with UNICEF, as I said, so it can be found for free at the website of UNICEF Bulgaria. You can also find a link at our website. It directs to the website of UNICEF. These are materials and resources which cover many fields. This edition, a review of AAC technology with concrete examples, has been recognized as important not only for Bulgaria, with the cooperation of UNICEF, the regional office for Central Europe and Eastern Asia, and it has been translated in English now. There are many things happening in Bulgaria as regards AAC, but the role of UNICEF Bulgaria is very important. They are supporting in a different way, and they're not only supporting, but they're implementing projects for the penetration of AAC in Bulgaria. You're going to listen to a presentation from UNICEF later, so I'm not going to speak on their behalf now. But let me underline that their support and partnership for our activity is appreciated. It's in many different areas, not only for supporting this series of conferences, but in terms of training specialists, holding surveys. So their activity is very serious and their support is very serious. We're also experiencing support from the Ministry of Education and Science. Currently, there is a project support for inclusive education, and they're providing equipment for auto center with special education need and regional centers, kindergartens, not only under this project, but under many other projects as well. This is just one example. Also, within this project, we saw the introduction of a map for individual assessment of needs on the basis of ICF. It has an assessment of the need of assistive technology and augmentative and alternative communication. They also support this conference and have supported the conference throughout all the years. The Ministry of Labor and Social Policy is also having many initiatives. Until 21, it could provide financial support to families for the provision of AAC means through the Financial Support Fund. Now, a project has started for the provision of means for people with permanent disabilities. There are actions on behalf of the State Agency for Child Protection. You heard from the presentation on Friday of Madam Kamelia Nikolova. In it, she told us about the monitoring they're having on whether AAC is available and used at centers of placement of a family type and special education support centers. They're very actively working for familiarizing all institutions and for providing legal changes, institutional support as regards AAC for prevention of violence, and inclusion of these activities in the action plan for implementation of the national program for prevention of violence and abuse of children. AAC means are used in many centers in Bulgaria. You're going to hear the presentation from different regional centers, centers for special education support, schools, centers for support, families, and as personal devices. What I would like to present now has to do with the questions: how well aware are specialists with AAC devices and how used they are. Many institutions and organizations are making a lot of effort, but there are questions whether specialists are familiarized with AAC, whether they use such devices, what is the understanding of specialists, what they think are important barriers, and what is the qualification of specialists in the sphere of AAC, because the provision of means for AAC or inclusion of such an assessment in the map of assessment of functional capacities requires for specialists to be very well aware of the AAC means. The results I'm going to present are a part of a survey carried out in partnership with UNICEF Bulgaria. The data has been collected this year in April 23 through an online questionnaire. The survey concerns all the topics that you saw in the previous slide, and I'm going to show you just some of the results. And there were 352 participants in the survey. The majority 252 are from regional centers for supporting the process of inclusive education. 53 are from centers for special education support, 42 from school, and 5 from something else. You can see that as professions, most of them are resource teachers, but there are psychologists, speech and language therapists, schools, deputy principals. So these were the participants in the survey. So these are specialists who are working with children with special education needs. This is important to know. First, I'm going to tell you about how well aware they are. The questions have been posed for different AAC needs, but what you see as totals at the bottom of the slide is that 7% say they are hardly aware at all, 12% are weakly aware, 28% somewhat aware, and 41% are well aware, and 12% are fully aware. So these are the answers of the participants. As regards the medium technological AAC means, 22% they say they're not familiarized at all, 26% are somewhat familiarized, 26% are somewhat aware, and 19 and 6% are well aware and fully aware. As regards high-tech AAC means, 24% say they are not familiarized with them at all, 23% are weakly familiar, 24% are somewhat aware, and 23% are well aware, and only about 5% are fully familiarized with them. And the last slide is as regards how well they know the alternative means to access a computer. 39% say they are not familiar with this at all. 24% are weakly aware, 23% are somewhat aware, 10% are well aware, and 4% are fully aware. The summary results are here. In the right-hand side, aware, this is well aware and fully aware. This is the level necessary for specialists who work in support centers. In low-tech AAC means, you can see the share. It's half, even more than 50%, 53% of the people are either well aware or fully aware of the low-tech means. However, looking at the medium-tech AAC means, the percentage is only 26%. And in terms of the high-tech AAC means, it's a similar percentage, 28, only 20%, 28% are well aware or fully aware of these. And as regards the alternative access to computer, this means that this is only 13%. And this poses the question of the application of the AAC means. And when they were asked about how often they use such AAC means, you can see the results for low-tech means. 29% say never, 26 rarely, often, and all the time. These are smaller percentage. And similar results are as regards the medium tech means, how often you use these in your work. But in the medium tech means, 77% say they never use them, and 12% rarely. In the high tech, 79% never use them, and 11% rarely use them. And in alternative access to a computer, the results are even greater. 93% say they never use means for alternative access to a computer in working with children with special education needs. These are the concerning results As regards the percentage of people who never use AAC means, you can see a summary of the results. And we have chosen to show these because whether a specialist uses a device often probably has to do with the children they work with, where they work, but when they never use a certain means, this is very alarming. The question says percent of people who have never used certain type of AAC. Only 29% of participants said they never use low tech. However, when we speak about the medium tech and high tech and alternative access, the results are between 77% and 93% of them not using these. As a link with the discussion, which was yesterday, let me show you some other results. But this slide shows the results about the frequency of use of AAC when assessing tools for additional support, because with many children with special education needs who don't have, without AAC means, you cannot have a valid assessment of their capacities and needs. And here the results are that 5% of the participants always use AAC in the evaluation, 11% often, 28% sometimes, 24% rarely, and 23% never use AAC for creating this evaluation.
And this is the slide I said is related to our discussion yesterday. We had questions. So there are such issues, for example, a 10-year-old child with cerebral palsy, she has no speech, the fine motor movements of the hands is impaired, and she uses an eye gaze computer for communication. So the question was, in your opinion, to what extent should Maria use this system? 69% of the respondents said all the time at home and at school. 13%, however, replied that she should use it up to 2 hours a day, only during the training sessions with specialists. 9% believe that she should use it up to 45 minutes a day because it is harmful to stay in front of the screen longer. We touched upon this opinion yesterday, and 3% stated that she should use it only when we want to understand whether she needs something. Another related question concerns recommendations for using AAC on a speech generator by a child from the autistic spectrum. 79% of the respondents replied that it should be used all the time since it supports the development of language competences. But a smaller percentage of respondents said that they should wait until the child is old enough of school age, and others still said that the use should be restricted since it could lead to more frequent and more aggressive behavior. Fortunately, the percentage of respondents who think so is much lower. I added these 2 slides because of our discussion yesterday. But coming back to how familiar and how widely used the AAC is applied, says the professionals had during their investigation. This is an issue that was raised during our discussions on Friday. you might think that they had a lot of course at university related to AAC, and when it comes to upgrading the skill of where percentage of people that have undergone a so the total number skills upgrades are is pretty significant. That so this tells us that this is skills upgrade that requires intent, and we hope that all the efforts of the ministries, the state agency for child protection in Bulgaria will not only continue, but will really lead to raising awareness and wider use of AAC in Bulgaria. What we are doing written by Professor that's about AAC. Now, this is a book that has been published in English and others, and we hope to have the updated edition in Bulgaria in 2024, so that we have another resource to support professionals. As for university courses, both Professor Maurice Greenberg and I are lecturers in New Bulgarian universities. There are AAC courses there in place. They've been in effect for 3 years now. One of them is in the university program Occupational Therapy in Inclusive Education. And the other course is in the bachelor's program, which is speech and language therapy. And for me, these are very positive indication that the need for such courses is recognized. We also have several courses registered as courses that can be used for qualifications of person working within the Ministry of Education and Science. One of them is related to control using assistive technologies and AAC based on symbols, as well as high-tech AAC devices, and there is one concerning Communicator 5. And the last initiative that I would like to mention is the one for establishing a national AAC team, a network of professionals in Bulgaria that are AAC experts. This is a project of ours, which we were a little apprehensive to voice at the beginning, but it is a reality thanks to the support of UNICEF Bulgaria, not only the financial support, but all commitment in all kinds of fields, as well as support from the Inclusive Education Directorate with the Ministry of Education. So what we have done so far is practical training, where we received unexpectedly high interest. So we actually had to select the experts that would attend the training. from and limit the number to 30 different institute specialists. The trends continued for 160 hours and comprised both presentations, practical sessions, discussions, and a 2-day in-person training for working with with the system. So that's very briefly